I'd like to call to order Beaver County Board of Commissioners work session for Wednesday, October 22nd, 2025. Review of work session discussion meeting minutes. Any changes?
We're good.
Good. We'll move to department head report. Department head report. Dan?
Good morning. Sent over some information yesterday, and I get it whenever I send things. Sometimes I prefer to talk in person. Sometimes it's not real clear in email form. So obviously, everyone.
Too many options.
Yeah. Obviously, we've got some issues with the backup emergency generators. You authorized me to get some information from the engineers as to how we proceed with this. They provided a timeline. My concern is between now and then, if we have a failure, these things, the parts are obsolete. Obviously, we would have a backup plan where we can, I don't know if Eric has, Director Brewer has something that we can use, or we can rent something. I mean, obviously, we're not going to be stuck without power. But my question is, with that timeline, obviously, there's a 20-week lead time to get the material equipment, and I know that the budget is being worked on and getting authorized. Is that something that you authorized prior, or is there money available now? Do we move forward with this? Because you have to put a bid packet together saying 60 to 90 days just to put that together, which I don't think it's an issue to wait after the budget's approved, with the understanding that if something happens, we're going to have to take different steps.
Yeah, I remember like toward the parking garage, I was talking to Ned, that subject came up, and I didn't realize it was going to take that long just to pre-work. And then it's what, 20
week.
Excuse me, delivery time for the stuff. So I don't know. I'd be in favor, just based on what we know now. This is a capital expenditure that I think is critical.
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't mind moving the process along, even though the budget isn't totally settled. Because I'm sure we've got the capital reserves to handle that backup generator cost.
I'm okay with that.
So I would say, go ahead, let Ned do his thing, get the packages out and get them out there and start the process, yeah.
Can you have them send a new timeline over?
I'll talk with Ned after, yeah. Okay. I'll call him this afternoon and just let him know that this came up and see if he can provide something new, and I'll share that information with you. If there's no other questions or anything on that, the only other thing that I have is, obviously, the weather's been cooperating with us, thank goodness, knock on wood. Our garage still on schedule.
Good. Thank you.
Just hold Ned's feet to the fire. Maybe that's a bad analogy for a backup generator, but,
Any other department, okay?
Couple things this Saturday, the Beaver County Committee for America 250, in conjunction with the statewide Committee of America 250 PA, is hosting the Liberty Tree dedication, taking place at 11 a.m. at Fort McIntosh. We invite all members of the public to attend. It starts at 11 o'clock with the firing of the cannon. Fort McIntosh was one of our sites that was important, and battle sites and forts for the Revolutionary War. That's appropriate for that Liberty Tree to be planted there and have a forever home there. So we're excited for our first official kickoff event. We'd like refreshments from 11 to about 12:30, 1 o'clock.
it's always good to see Beaver fire the cannon across the river.
Yeah, we're excited about
At
that.
Center Township.
We also have a staff medevac flyover taking place. We're excited to kick off our events in a year-long celebration. Becky's on our committee and represents Faith well, and has been vital in the planning of this. The other thing starting this Saturday is our 17th annual goose hunt season. This Saturday is the youth hunt. We always do it on the first day available hunt. We have 9 youth hunters available. Then throughout November, we have 5 specific dates for adult hunters to do the hunting. We have done the lottery. We had over 26 blind requests, meaning that you can bring up to 3 of your friends, individual signage, and the sheriff will be on site for all events, because that portion of the park from the dam to the Four Seasons and the South Trail behind is closed down to the public. But there's plenty of signage and a constant sheriff presence for that. So this is our 17th year doing it in conjunction with Rich Curlin and the Sportsmen's Association. We're excited to continue that tradition.
Good turnout for the dog show.
Yeah.
Great turnout. We had, I
What
think,
day did you
I think
Sunday.
615 total dogs. We haven't got the place for data yet, but adding that third day, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday,
Yeah.
jam-packed, just our parking lot looked like a campground with many RVs and vans and,
It's just cool. I mean, you're a dog person involved, even if you aren't, it's pretty cool.
yeah, it's very.
Pretty cool
impressive to
thing, yeah.
Any other department head report? Controller or Eric?
I got disappointing news. So, January 30th, the marijuana legislation sunsets. There's been no movement. Senator Booth, she's the vice chair, co-chair of this Veterans Affairs and Emergency Preparedness Committee, looked through some stuff for a raise. But she's in the minority, so I don't see her going anywhere. There's been just no movement.
That's mastery on that.
We're hoping that CCAP, yes, Matt Trion is the
Yeah.
CCAP wants to raise, we want to raise. At this point, I'd be happy to just stay the same. I want something to, that we can start looking to, budgeting.
Yeah.
What next year looks like. But, so that's my quarterly lack of progress on the state legislature.
Well, it seems to be an annual event. I don't know, the last one was in effect for a couple of years, but we went through the same process. The 11th hour, something was finally passed, but you're right, you like the certainty and the predictability of what that revenue is gonna be, so. I know we have a CCAP meeting coming up again. It's already there as a priority, as you mentioned, so we'll just keep trying to reinforce it with our Beaver County delegation as well.
And on a federal level, FEMA is a disaster in itself right now. So if something were to happen, let's say a tornado, flood, something, we don't know how. We don't know the process to go through to get disaster assistance.
Is that because of the shutdown?
No, that's nothing.
This was
It's, they want to,
eliminating.
they're reorganizing, that's fine, but there's just no guidance. There are states that put in for disasters already, they're not getting the money. So, again, the normal process that we've been used to, we don't know that process anymore. They want to get rid of the NFI, the National Flood Insurance Program, and put it under like a nonprofit or private, which if that's gonna work, I'm not sure, but just so you know, if something were to happen tomorrow, we don't know how to get funds for those events.
Controller?
So good morning. Thank you for your time today. I know you expect me to talk, but I'm going to start with something, and I'll go into this. Just an update on mental health human services. I know other counties are way behind, right? General fund is supporting a lot of their human services. Luckily, in Beaver County, mental health is our biggest one. They were proactive. They took steps. I don't know if you've been updated, but we are actually, our due to from human services is actually lower than other units right now. It's been manageable. Most of that's due to the fact that Roland has been very proactive, worked with his third-party providers. He's sitting on about $4 million in invoices, which is why the general fund has been, for us, we're actually pretty good for human services. We're providing services. We're not down anymore. The general fund isn't out a lot of money. So, Roland Human Services has really been proactive in managing Beaver County really, really well. So that was for the human services.
Thank you.
The rest of this, I'm coming to you as an elected watchdog of the taxpayer money, a frustrated watchdog, as you guys know, because I can't do this alone. I can continue to report to you the issues I see, the areas where we are spending excessively or spending on unacceptable items. But you three have the final say. I can't enforce anything on other departments or row offices without your support. You have to be the ones to make them adhere to the budget, to the policies, and to the acceptable spending, especially when they're using their credit card since the money was already spent. If it's an invoice, we can refuse to pay it, and that's a little bit easier. But credit card charges, we have to pay it, and then we have to ask them to pay it back, and that is a lot harder. So I know you've been having conversations with Corey about our 2026 budget, and that you're looking at a hiring freeze. Today, I'm going to go over some items that I feel have contributed to our increased spending and ways that you can save if you agree with me and hopefully work with me to correct some of them. Charges on the credit card for the last 3 months. The charges from my prior report have not been reimbursed, except for $32 back from the $3,200 spent. I know, and to clarify something that was said on WPDP, this is not the same thing as Treasurer Egley sending out 90,000 tax notices. If you guys recall, when she first moved to treasurer, she wanted to remove her name, but by law, she is required to use her name as the elected treasurer. And I would argue that it's negative for her since people hate to pay taxes. Any tax increases are more associated with her name than the commissioners. And sending out tax bills is part of your elected job. Handing out compact meters, beer koozies, and sanitizers with a personal name is not part of an elected job. I am starting to see a lot more lunches and food charges on the credit card. Assessment spent $200 just to do tax sale prep. ESU is spending lunches every 2 weeks, 270 on the last month. We are spending money for board meetings. We spent $57 lunch for an ESU call out. I know this is okay occasionally, but if this becomes common, our charges for lunches are gonna go up. I know I said to you that there was other things on that Sheets receipt. We were reimbursed this morning for those unacceptable charges, so those are taken care of. From the last month's credit card, we have 2 shared food receipts that are over the limit allowable by the CBA. One of them was $280 for 2 people, and another one was like $160. We're still buying networking events. They're paying for United Way tickets on the last month's bill. Are we paying for chamber events and United Way tickets with the county tax dollars? The DA's office had a U-Haul rental and $400 in tools last month. They are construction and maintenance tools. I don't know what these expenses are. Why are the DA's buying $400 in tools? New positions over the last 2 years. We have added 23 new positions over the last 2 years without eliminating the subsequent position for the ask. So to explain, like when we create a position, but they eliminated a subsequent one in the salary board, I didn't count any of those. For those 23 positions, the annual salary cost of the county is $1.1 million without benefits. 2 departments that came to the salary board and asked for new positions for their funds, the DTF and the RBC, the salary board was told that these positions would be self-sustaining and the money made in these funds would pay for the salaries. Both of these funds have been negative in 2024 and 2025. They are not bringing enough money to support the salaries, and the general fund has had to supplement these funds $175,000 over the last 2 years, and this will increase with the additional costs in 2025 and 4th quarter. Coroner autopsies, as you know, because you've been looking at it, is up. It doubled since 2015, doubled. We used to average about 150,000 per year. We have been over 300,000 for the last couple of years, and it jumped from 2015 to 2016, $100,000. That was a 60% increase from the prior year, and it continued at that level and jumped to 300,000 in 2021. It has not come down. DA overtime increases in wages. The DA overtime has increased 40 to 60,000 over the last 2 years. This is a 50 to 70% increase from 2023 and prior. The part-time wages in the DA's office has increased 35% over the last 2 years as compared to 2023 and prior. The temporary assessment lawyer. The county hired a temporary assessment lawyer to help during the reassessment and the higher appeals. The reports the last 2 years show reduced appeals, and Garen stated earlier this year in a public meeting that 2025 numbers seem to be back to normal levels. So why are we still paying $124,000 for this position a year? Sheriff's external work. We are still having the sheriff go to football games, parades, at a cost of over $35,000, and we are only reimbursed about $10,000, and that comes from the hockey games, not from any of those. So when I asked the sheriff on other years, he said the municipalities reimburse us, but we've seen no reimbursements from municipalities. So I really don't think the taxpayers should support overtime to the sheriff to do football games. The municipalities should pay us for that. Increased travel. When looking at the travel expenditures over the last 5 years, we have some departments who have increased travel over 50% and some 100% over the last 5 years. We are spending over $2,100 per month to rent a space from BMAC for the DA office. We signed a contract for 6 months, and this will cost the taxpayers almost $13,000. This is the first time in decades that we've ever done a place like this. So the question is why? But that is my end of it. There are more. That is it. Again, I thank you. I have two things. We have an update on where we are with policies to control credit card charges and these expenditures that aren't defined, like promotional materials. And I'm asking you to work with me. I can't do this. You guys have to work with me. I know we're just going some, but like, we can't control this. I know your feeling is putting all those credit cards out there, Dan, and there's a good thought for that is at least people have names. But how do we control it, right? How do we control all these people? I'm just asking for your help because I think the taxpayers deserve it. So thank you.
No comment.
If I may, just, I know, and I highly respect you, Ms. Lago, and I would be happy to count on the DA side of things. You mentioned numerous things that we have. I mean, I can go line by line. However, I think that prior to the meeting, if you can address those, and I'd be happy to provide explanations for all of them. And I think, like the U-Haul and the tools, why are we doing that? Well, that was linked to a human trafficking investigation that had 4 illegal people that were involved. We had $500,000 in seizures. I mean, the tools that, I know you kind of emphatically said, why does the TA? Well, we had to disassemble that stuff. I mean, there's a massage table. I don't know who we're gonna get to do that kind of stuff off hours. I mean, I can go down the line, but I rest assured, I mean, all those that are in the best interest of the people of Beaver County. And, although I know they're your concern, and, I certainly respect that you are finding these things, but having not enumerated, just getting this list without an explanation, it sounds incredibly damning to our organization, at least. That's all I can speak of.
And I know Jack has said in the past that he doesn't want to micromanage, right? So, but my job is to find these things. So let's talk about, you thanked me for finding these. 3 people signed off on these expense reimbursements that came in. And this happens on mileage too. We have the person signing off on it, the supervisor, and then the commission office comes to us. I shouldn't have had to ask and catch these. And it wasn't just once. I can happen that there's mistakes making, but I'm seeing a pattern. Like, a lot of people see these things. So are the supervisors really reviewing these things? And I'm sorry, Jack, I will continue to micromanage because if I save $100 for a taxpayer, I'm saving $100 for the taxpayer because we should not be buying chew on the credit card.
You're
And
doing
three
your
people
job.
signed off on that before I got it.
You're doing your job. My job, I don't feel, is to micromanage other duly elected row officers and the charges they have. That's their responsibility. It's
So
the
it's
sheriff's
not-
responsibility, that's Sandy's responsibility, it's your responsibility for your department. It's not mine to micromanage. We do set the policy, and if people aren't following the policy, then they need to be told about that and follow the policy.
Okay.
I mean, and every one of those jobs, by the way, that were justified, we're adding new benefit or new services or something in expanded capacity to the taxpayers of Beaver County. If they want. Yeah, I know.
So the job that was created at 911, a training position that was not needed because somebody left and didn't like their job and came back 3 weeks later, was already replaced, and we created a job for them that was not needed. That was needed,
Not true. And that job is adding value every day, right
Not
now.
true. Not true, I will argue with that every single day.
Well, I disagree with you.
But anyway.
I disagree with you. Tom Shane would disagree with you. A whole
So the
bunch of people would disagree
$96,000,
with
so
you.
I'm not going on, Tom Shane, the ESU full-time person that we gave. The sheriff and them sat in the salary board and told us he wanted, because it took a long time to get, because he said, we're giving him that because Pat used to do it. And it was a lot, so he took it off, but it wasn't a full-time, but Shane loved it, and loved doing it. And the sheriff went on to say, yeah, this position will probably be eliminated once Shane's gone, because we won't need it. It's not a full-time position, but they were giving it to Shane at $97,000 a year because Tom Shane liked it. And I have those, I have the audio from that. I mean, so those are the things that are upsetting to me, right? We
Was
gave
that-
that position when it wasn't full-time. So.
Good.
Yeah.
That's fine, so Garen, comment on that one.
My understanding on that one is that it would be eliminated from the sheriff's office and moved under the DA's office. There was technicalities of why legally it needs to remain under the sheriff's office now. And then the intention was, whenever Tom's done, it would be shifted over under the DA's budget.
So we're busy enough now that we need a full-time. Well, that was solid, it was because of solid, I'll shut up.
Well, no, we could debate this because at the end of the day, I agree with many things you say, but you're not gonna sit back there and comment on public safety across Beaver County. Do you really know what Tom Shane does at the ESU? Do you know how many classes he's performed for our municipalities? Whether it's our job or not, we're still keeping our community safe. And I am a wholehearted believer that public safety is very important in Beaver County. And that also goes back to the sheriff's department. These municipalities need some assistance, whether you're paying for it in a municipality level or you're paying for it at the county level. If they need assistance from us, we are a quasi-government. We've always said that. This board has took that stance that if a quasi-government entity needs assistance from Beaver County, we will support that. They're not working security at movie theaters. They're not working security at the mall. But for quasi-government entities, we are here to support our local municipalities.
And I would agree with you there, Dan.
So I
And I don't
appreciate
know what Tom Shane does, and I would agree with that.
And
But when my question is when we're looking at over budgets, right, and where we are, we have to go to essential services, right? Like, I would love to do more of those to help the football games that
I
have
would agree.
security. But like, we have to start making questions, and we're not gonna take them away from our buildings because that's required, right?
yes,
So if we have to go to municipalities and go, guys, we can't do this for you anymore, we're short. Like, I just wanna make sure that we are doing our due diligence, because those are the first things to go, or ask municipalities to help us. Like, we can't keep that up, because we have more people going to the hospitals, the jails, all the shit, like all of that stuff.
Yeah.
So we have to look at the things that,
and as for the 6-month lease, I don't know if you want to comment on it, or if you can or cannot.
That's for us, yeah.
Yeah, I
I mean, you don't have to say, because if it's confidential why you have it, I don't need that said in a public meeting. You know what I mean?
But you brought it up in a public meeting, and what we have to say is we have to be able to clarify. You cannot just come to our meetings and question why something has taken place, and it'll be on the news tomorrow that we're spending X amount of dollars. If Detective Young can say why we have that office, I would appreciate
is the location anywhere in the,
We've discussed that whenever that initially was on the agenda for approval, and I believe I had a
That's
conversation
probably
with,
knowledge where it is, so.
well, I believe I had a conversation with you explaining what it was used for.
Yes, you did. And I guess I disagree with that. That's not my call, right? That's your guys' call on public safety. I just disagree with that. So
I will tell you this, with Tom Shane and Madison are going around the schools and churches and doing threat assessments and providing that service to the community is valuable. Whether there's never an active shooter in a church or a school again, having that work done, having those folks out there, reunification process, having plannings just like we do, active shooting drills here, I think those are important for the community. A church can't pay for that for itself. Most municipalities can't do it. And that's a valuable service that I am not going to scrimp on because we're trying to save a few bucks in salaries or positions. When it comes to public safety and health, it's the most, you look at the code, that's our primary responsibility as commissioners. And that's where most of these jobs and positions are going.
Yeah,
I'm gonna back the DA, I'm gonna back the detectives, I'm gonna back the ESU, I'm gonna back the 911 center, 100% every time I can to make sure that public safety and health is taken care of.
And I challenge you guys that we asking the questions to say that service could be done by other people employed, and we should be honest, because we can easily say we need it, like we denied Sandy the position before, because, we've done that, but we defend it. I mean, we defend positions, but we never challenge, I don't think we challenge them enough. Because we can always defend it, but I challenge you, that work couldn't be done by personnel we already had.
no, I mean.
So I'm just saying, I'm challenging you to ask those questions, but I don't think we asked them.
Not with the
So-
talent and
So we
skills and
didn't, we
capability.
had to add all that time because we couldn't do it before.
Yeah, we could not do it to the best to where we're doing it now. We've been able to expand capability because of having that. I mean, but could we have done a small fraction of what we do? We were, right? But we were doing a lot of things poorly, but not the things that we need to accomplish very good. When you're talking about things like hostage rescue or active shooter response to a school, or, executing a search warrant or barricaded gunman, like, how can you can never be good enough to do that. I mean, and I would challenge it, I'd be happy to take you with us, to see what that looks like, if you're standing out there in the middle of the night trying to respond. You could never be good enough. So if we're able to expand our abilities, certainly we need to do that, I think, as a county. Now, I would like to just acknowledge that you are absolutely correct, and I will make it a point from our office in auditing, like, there's no excuse why, like, I will tell you that tobacco, like, what happened with that, and I provide an explanation to you in a written document, but that was at 2:30 in the morning, providing security in Lombard Terrace for an officer-involved shooting that happened, that where our guys had to provide security for FBI and multiple other people, that they were getting threatened, that they were gonna come with it and get killed. Right?
Okay,
So- And at 2 in the morning, people make mistakes, but I will acknowledge the fact that I will take it my personal responsibility, because that should never have gone through multiple supervisors, and I will be much better and provide that through our whole.
And that's when the mistake happened. I'm not questioning Wendy, because I even sat in and told Tammy that I can understand that you were out, they had to get the stuff, it was fast. Mistake happened when it was submitted, and that person didn't look at it, and then it was signed off on twice in your department.
No
Do
excuse,
you know what I'm saying? So to me, that's what I'm happy with, like, because that system's not working. And
absolutely,
that happened 2 months in a row,
and we'll fix it.
so from your department, right? So it wasn't just once, so. Anyway.
So I think we could agree that the list was, can we have the list?
You can have a list, and
Because I think we could agree there are things on that list that needs addressed.
right,
There's no
and that you guys are, so here's the thing for you guys, right? When there's things that safety come up, when you guys are submitting things, and I've asked this before, just write that to us. We read it like, this was for this, done, I don't question it, right? Like if you, the tool thing is up, Maria, this was so for a covert act. Like if you would just wrote that on the receipt,
Oh, okay.
do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And we don't question
If
it.
you see a Home Depot receipt for $70 for tools, you don't know what it is.
Because they don't normally buy tools, but they said, Maria, we needed this for, you don't have to tell me what it was, just a covert, a mission, that's all we need to help us understand, so,
Is there a form maybe we could put together that,
say it again.
is there maybe a form that we could have for reimbursements
For
that
receipts.
that would allow for some type of elaboration on things? Because I don't think there's a standard form to be utilized now for that.
You know, we can talk with Echo and we'll make it simpler. Echo has to go through all the,
Credit
right,
cards.
getting all the receipts. I mean, I have someone here too where we're not getting detailed receipts on food. That's a requirement by policy. You have to give us detailed receipts. We have to see if what you bought was just food. So like Echo should, but she's on a timeline. So I don't know if it's detailing the policy for people coming before, but Echo and us, we can discuss that. But
Yeah.
Echo would have a lot of input on what make it easier for her and these guys.
The only thing, and this is a department, I'm not ahead by any stretch, but like a right and left limit, like what would you, because we'd be happy to provide any explanation for any expenditure. It's just what line or if there's a threshold, or if it just requires any expenditure, we'd be happy to provide it. It's just, I'm not aware of the mechanism that.
So we need policies, right? Like, the county does not buy lunch and coffee for employees. That's a basic thing right there. Like, and we have to have a discussion on the gray area. What's considered a meeting or not, right? Like, you can be going out to a meeting with someone, but again, is it a meeting between you and employees? Because like, our departments can't pay for lunches if we're just going out and meeting with my employees, but if you have something else for a case, so the commission, we gotta come up with a policy. But like, we should not be paying for Starbucks. You should not be paying for lunches in the county at Panera if it's just for lunches for you guys. But like, the commission have to say, okay, we're budgeting for you to pay lunches for every ESU training. But if that's twice a month, do we have a budget for that, right? That's like, these are the things, I can only put them out. You guys have to decide by policy and budget what we can afford. And then we need a policy so that you guys know what to do.
Well, but I think that also reflects back is, are we working within the confines of our budget? Like for us, like I know you brought it up with having food at specific training. Well, that food is coming from that line item in the training section of our budget. So it's allocated. We have to adjust for that long-term in that training budget that food is coming from there. Now, there's specific reasons too, is, for ESU example, is we have to maintain our guys at a specific location for specific duration, so they're not authorized.
So again, these are all things that the commissioners have to define in
Right.
a policy, and if it's allowable and you have the budget for it, then I'll enforce the terms. But right now, these are new things that we haven't spent in the past, and I haven't had their call, sorry. But so I just asking for more clarifications, we have to enforce it. These are things I haven't had to spend before, you can defend them all day to them, and if they say yes, I'll argue with them as much as they want, but they get the final say. And all I get to do is enforce it. So, thank you guys, I have a ton to do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Any other department head report? None? We will move to solicitors.
Couple of update on things that I've sort of been reporting on recently. One, from Colin, we have a return rate of 57% of our mail-in ballots, which is third in the state at this point. 12,898 ballots have been sent out. 7,511 have been returned. Anyone who wants to do in-office voting, that is open until 5 p.m. on October 28th. So things continue to run smoothly there, and we're also getting a large return of our mail-in ballots, unlike other counties. The other thing that I wanted to update on is it looks like they're gonna be filming again here on next Monday, tentatively next Monday. This one will not have nearly the impact of what the other one had. The filming would be over in the parking area where the elected officials park, and there might be a little bit of filming done by Wayne's department. But they've indicated to us they plan on coming back to shoot one more scene. And tentatively that's scheduled for next Monday. So you might see a little bit of some action outside the building, but virtually, I don't believe any of it's gonna be inside the building at all. And then third thing, just to clarify something that was brought up about the assessment appeals. I believe what I said is I was hoping we would get back to numbers that were pre-reassessment. We don't know those numbers until right now. So anything that I would have said prior to this about we will be back would have been premature because these are still rolling in. The last cases by our board were held last week. So realistically, we probably, and there's a 30-day appeal period, we probably won't know till towards the end of November exactly how many appeals are out there. And these are appeals that go from the board up to the court. Whenever they go up to the court, the law department has to represent and handle all of those cases that go to court. So we had 564 cases in court the year after the reassessment. In 2024, that number dropped down to 167. This year already, we have 181 appeals filed, and there's still approximately another probably 30 days for appeals to be filed. And just to give an idea of what that normally looked like prior to reassessment, we had about 25 cases each year that went to court for appeals. So our appeals continue to be substantially higher than where they were pre-reassessment. And unfortunately, we were hoping this year we would get back to numbers that were more in line with where it was before the reassessment, but that clearly is not the case. And if anything, a lot of the appeals that are coming now are commercial appeals, which have a higher value to them and generally take more time to resolve than what you would have on a residential property. So that's just to clarify some of the things that I've been reporting on. Resolutions tomorrow, 21 resolutions, couple of the highlights. Number 14 and 19 are both cleaning contracts. 14 would be the cleaning contract of the Human Services Building and the Community Development. And then 19 is for the cleaning contract at the various magistrates' offices that the county owns throughout the county. 17 and 18 both deal with the jail. 17 is continuing our partnership with Southern Health Partners who provide medical care at the jail. And then 18 is for a vending machine system to be put up in the jail for the employees. And then finally, number 20 is with St. Barnabas. We have a lease with them for storage of various records and equipment. We are extending that by 1 month to, I believe it's June of 2027. Sorry, end of May of 2028. It's just a 1 month extension. There was we're not paying for this month. We're tacking it on at the end. There were some things that St. Barnabas had to take care of as far as instituting in the facility, which they've done. So we plan on starting that here, I think next week is what the tentative plan is. So wish us luck with that. Unless there's any other questions with the law department, I do have a personal matter that we need to discuss in executive session.
Any questions for the solicitor's office? Hearing none. Commissioners?
Well, I guess the the big news, since we last met was that, the long-awaited, potential of Allegheny Health Systems, merging with Allegheny Health Network. And Dan and I were both there for that. I think it's a long time coming. And I would just say a lot of articles on it. I think it really is, a great, thing for healthcare in Beaver County to have, the resources in addition to what Heritage Valley has done and provided, over the years, to have them, now have Allegheny Health Network being part of that system. I think it secures the future of the medical center as well as the Swigley Hospital for many, many years to come. Also happens to fit well with our change here with our employee coverage going to Highmark, from UPMC. Not that anybody who has UPMC can't get, the same level of care and service and stuff, but, I think it was a good day. A lot of credit to Norm Mitry. Norm's been unbelievable leader in the county for a long time. Heritage Valley's been the largest employer for as long as I've lived here. I think 25 years in total employees. And they've pieced together a great organization in probably one of the most difficult businesses to be in, and that's the business of healthcare. We all know what's happening nationally and everything else. And the job that he's done, the job that Heritage Valley's done, and their board has just been terrific. And now having the resources of Allegheny Health Network, I think it's going to carry that tradition and carry that healthcare excellence for folks in Beaver County and the region going forward. So we're really proud of the job they've done and was pleased to be there for that. So I don't know, Dan, anything you want to say about that? That's kind of it for me.
All right. Any other business? Audience participation. You can just state your name, sir. That's all.
Okay, this isn't as important as what you guys are talking about, but it's something that I'm concerned about. My name is Ed Gray. I live in Brighton Township. As a little background, I've lived in Beaver County my whole life, except for the 2 years I served in the military. In the past, I served as Brighton Township Park and Recreation Board as secretary for 10 years. And I still program the electronic signs on Dutch Ridge and Tuscarawas Road. I do some other volunteer work. I used to do some other volunteer work too. I like to walk, and I usually walk about 5 miles a day, at least 5 days a week. Most of it is done in Brady's Run Park. While I was walking there, I noticed a bridge near shelter number 4 was in need of a paint job. I have a picture of the railing if you'd like to see it. So I thought I would do a little community service and volunteer to paint the bridge if the county would supply the paint. I filled out some paperwork the first week of August and waited. Finally, about 3 weeks later, I got an email that my request had been sent to the union for approval. I waited another 6 weeks and heard nothing. Finally, I made some inquiries and found out that the union had denied my request. I was astonished. A lot of the wood is exposed to the weather, and it doesn't look very nice. I understand job security, but obviously, these guys are too busy to paint the bridge where it would have been painted. So why not let a volunteer paint it? So my question to the union and to you guys, why would you deny the request of an 82-year-old guy who wants to do a little community service and volunteer to paint one bridge in all of Beaver County?
If we can get a copy of your letter, we can forward that on. I know the discussion was previously made, and there was not a consensus amongst the union to permit that to be done. Because it is union work, even though it's volunteer, if we were to allow someone else to do that, the county would be subject to a grievance. These type of things have come up before, and we have discussed it with the union and tried to work with them. If we get a copy of your letter, let them know that you came to a public meeting to discuss this, we can try to have that conversation again with them.
I appreciate that. The only comment I would make is I would think that you'd want to have a lot of community, people in the community wanting to do this service. I don't understand why the union would object to it. I mean, if they're going to paint the bridge, that's great. If they're not painting the bridge, the wood's exposed to the weather, and it doesn't look very nice. And so I would think that they'd be happy to have somebody paint it.
Well, when you came and spoke to me, Ed, and obviously I did follow back up with Tony and Dan, on that, and they eventually followed up with you. I told, we have a Boy Scout right now who's doing some trail work up at the Arboretum, finishing his scout project. We have other volunteer groups that do trail maintenance and those kinds of things, but that's not normal, typical duties of our public works folks.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you said you wanted to put new gutters on the ice arena, that's great that you would volunteer to do that if you're in the, gutter business, but that's a job that our folks are gonna do, and that'd be taken away from them. Maintenance of those bridges is a routine thing that would fall under the purview of jobs they would do. I appreciate the fact that the bridge isn't painted yet, and to your point there, but we do have priorities, and
I understand.
limited manpower that we need to figure out
And that's
what
why,
comes first.
and that's why I said,
Yeah.
obviously, they're too busy to paint the bridge, so why wouldn't they say, great, we got a guy that's going to paint it?
I hear you. And so do Dan and Tony. So,
If you just give Garen the letter, we'll get it to the union.
Yeah, I will.
Thank you. Any other audience participation?
Becky Gallagher, Baden. I just have a concern about the ambulance service in Beaver County. I know that we all know that ambulance service throughout the country is in dire straits, but there was a woman who waited 25 minutes for an ambulance in Ambridge on Saturday, and unfortunately, she passed away before she could get medical attention. I personally have heard of 3 people that there was a gentleman in Baden that passed away because the ambulance didn't get to him fast enough. I know that you know that it's a problem. I just wonder if there's some way that we can be addressing it.
I would tell you, 25 minutes does not sound like an atypical wait for an ambulance these days, unfortunately. But that is the reality. I know Director Brewer could probably speak to that more authoritatively than I can, but we are aware of the issue. And I don't know, Eric, you want to?
Yeah, so so EMS service is no different than police, fire, EMS, right? So we need to educate the local elected officials that it's their responsibility to maintain, if that's a good word, police, fire, and EMS for their community. The county, under the Commonwealth, does not have responsibility to say who responds to Ambridge, Baden, doesn't matter what township. Whether that's on the police, fire, or EMS. We go through this every day. I get the call of why to take EMS so long. It is the responsibility whenever, we're actually having elected officials seminar December 3rd, but whenever, these local.
Is that at the 911 center?
Yes, whenever these local leaders take the oath, they take the oath to protect the health and safety of the individuals in the community, and EMS is part of that. I know it's not like Ambridge Police or Ambridge Fire or Baden Police Fire, well, I guess you're different, but it's still, the municipality tells the 911 center who responds for their primary EMS responsibility, and that's by resolution and everything. So I don't want to take the county's burden out of this, but again, in the Commonwealth, it's the municipality's responsibility.
So I'm sure you understood what he said. So there are municipalities who don't have resolutional agreements with certain services. So if a call comes into our 911 center, so this is just a random example. It's not factual. If Ambridge calls and they say they only have it with medic rescue. Well, if there's no medic rescue buses available, they don't have a agreement for economy or AHN or any of these other services. So they are going to wait until a medic rescue bus is available.
Okay, that's the first I have ever heard
Now-
of that, but I understand Medic Rescue has a contract with the county, is that correct?
No,
It's not a county, it's individual.
we have a contract with them to remove deceased bodies from scenes.
With the
Their
coroner.
body
Yeah, through the
with
coroner's
Through the coroner's office, they will
But we do
take.
not have a contract with them.
Yeah.
For instance, if something happened here and Beaver Borough only had a resolution with medic rescue, we would wait for a medic rescue bus to be available to come service a citizen here. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Eric and Pat, if there's a mass casualty, a shooting or somewhere multiple services need, I think these other services would probably come to that
Yeah, we
municipality.
do this every day. If they're, like, we're trying to find an ambulance on a daily basis for someone to go to. And you know, down in the Hookstown area, it's rescuers, they have primary response down there. In this area, it's medic rescue, Amber's area, it's economy, we have Cranberry coming in, Harmony, the medevacs, Nogas, Newcastle.
Just Northwestern out of business now.
So those are predetermined by the municipality who said, yes, we want that certain ambulance service to be our primary response.
And Eric, correct me if I'm wrong, there is one municipality that has recently discussed splitting their municipality in quadrants of 4.
Well, yeah, so we're at the newspaper, we have.
I didn't want to say the names, but
Cranberry, Medic rescue, economy.
So depending on where you live in New Sewickley Township, your primary person is going to be a different service. So if you're in the northern part of it, you're going to probably get Cranberry. If you're in the southern part, you're going to maybe get economy or medic rescue.
And that's predetermined by, well, that was years ago, by the municipality sat down, drew a lines, and it's by address. So if you're in 1, 2, 3, Rudolph Road, you're gonna get this, that, and that. So, yeah. We need to get the municipalities more engaged in this, in that city.
And I know, Becky, some of the fire departments have been trying to have these kind of rapid response, like, kind of EMT responses. I don't know how far that's gone.
Yeah, because Baden has that.
To help alleviate, but they can only do so much as well. You still need a normal ambulance service to transport somebody to the hospital or likewise.
We're having to help in those conversations, but we have no authority to
Correct.
determine that.
No, thanks for highlighting that. It's a sad situation when somebody passes away waiting for an ambulance. Not to say that even if they'd gotten there, something tragic would have been the end result, but that's kind of a typical wait time, I think. Now it's 20.
Is there an average wait time, Eric? I mean, obviously they're coded, E1, 2, and 3, but
I can get one, but no, I haven't done an average lately.
any other audience participation? Hearing none, we will move into executive session.